Once again, here we are with Mondays with Barry. We're going to talk just briefly about another headline, Peatling, Morgan, Star and Rupp win. Tell us about that, Barry.
That was in 61, I think it was, the last game of the season. We played Dimboola. We only kicked about 15 goals and Morgan kicked 6 and I kicked 7.
Only 7, a lazy 7.
I only kicked 7, yeah, it was not a bad effort. That was not a bad sort of headline either too. That was the year we won the flag. Come on, it was... we kicked 18 goals, 5 I think. I kicked 7 straight.
Ian Morgan was a fair player, wasn't he?
Brilliant. He was probably nearly as good as Doug White, but he never went down and tried himself out, but he was champion. But that was a good headline.
So where was that exactly?
7 goals.
That
was up at Dimboola.
Dimboola. Well, very good, excellent. So 7 lazy goals. Now, you are a little bit of a legend in that area, aren't you, Barry?
Well, it's sort of nearly been, well not nearly, it has been sort of, what's the word, is it rectified or established that I am a legend, because there was a story here, you've got better eyes than it, you found on the internet. Peter Miller works, who was the son of the late, not the late, but Jimmy Miller's old man, played on the same side. Yeah,
this was in the Weekly Advertiser, and it was...
They're affiliated with the River Mail Times.
So, what was the article about?
Well, it was about Mick Simon died, as a matter of fact. He was coach of that year in 1961. He died with Alzheimer's probably a couple of months ago, and he was at the funeral, and he wrote that little article about Mick Simon, and then he was talking about 10 years later.
Tell us a little bit about Mick Simon.
Mick Simon was a champion, as I said a couple of years ago when I had done the team of the century, when the team, he was the best exponent of left and right foot of each side of his body. Played very tall, he's only about 5'8", champion footballer, but he died 2 months ago. It was a sad death, but he was probably the best 3 players I've seen in the Women's League.
Very good. And the article, it talked about a comeback game or a 10-year anniversary game.
I played the under-16s, and a few of the legends, a few of the big stars come back, Jimmy Gallen and...
Yeah, well, it says here in the article, I'll quote, it says, I was too young, this is Peter Miller, to remember Mick's brilliance at the time, but just over a decade later I played in a fun match at Rapanyup that was the under-16s team at the time against the Premiership legends. Mick returned to town for that game along with other legends such as Jim Gull and Barry Peatling.
Well, sure. Finally being acknowledged, Colin. I mean, I had a rough idea. I know football. I know I was a bit better than the ordinary, and I think it's nice to be acknowledged by Peter Miller, who was the son of the great Jimmy Miller, who played on half-back flank that day in the 61 grand final.
He did say that there was a brawl that day? Or not that day, in the 63
grand
final.
Yeah, it was a big punch-up, and 61 is a big punch-up in 61 grand final. That's what he was talking about, I think. All in brawl it was. But the 63, I played half a season. So I broke my neck. I didn't play in the 63.
So would you like to say anything to Peter Miller?
Yeah, I'd say I congratulate him first of all on the article, his victory about Mick Side. It was a very, very good rundown of what Mick Side was capable of doing up in Rapanyup. He was a champion fellow and a champion footballer, and it's nice to see Peter Miller and getting some acknowledgement from a fellow who knows about football, who used to write for Women Mail Times.
Very good, and if anyone wants to see that, they can go to the Weekly Advertiser and just tap in Barry Peatling.
Yeah, the full story's in there, as you know, I mean you found it on the internet.
Weekly Advertiser.
So there you go, that was quite good.
So you've got a lot of people tuned in and saw the your little escapades with the paint last week.
Yeah, that was short.
We haven't had much comments about that, but people...
There's 40 people had a look at it.
People had a look at it, but
yeah.
A few people have enjoyed it, no doubt. You've got a few more stories from good old Richmond. This one is about your starting price for SP betting.
SP betting in Richmond.
Tell us about that.
It was pretty common back in the 30s and 40s, but late 50s and early 60s when I was involved. There was probably 2 or 3 on and off, but yeah, we used to work down at the Royston Hotel. People who lived in Richmond might know this, but down the Royston Hotel is still there. We used to work worked from there on the Wednesdays, which is only one day meetings back in them days, 1 day a week race meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday we used to work up the Dover Hotel in Ridge Road, but we'd go down there, and because the bookmaker, this Bertie Shep was the name of the bookmaker, he was a good fella. Normally greet myself, his name was Bluey.
Yep.
I used to write the bets, and Bluey used to take the money, and Silly Bill used to be knitting on the lane. He used to stand on the end of the lane in case the coppers come, he'd put his hand up. And back in them days, they were betting in 2 shillings, 5 bobs, and some of the big punters had 20 quid and 30 quid betting on. But if why Silly Bill was on the end of the lane, because he'd put his hand up if there's anyone.
What was he called, Silly Bill?
That was his name, Bill. He was a bit silly.
Right, okay, that's
He
fair enough.
He was one of our
So
friends.
he'd put his hand up when, because was this illegal?
Yeah,
Okay, so we are filming illegal activities.
yeah. Back in them days.
Back in the day, so Silly Bill would put his hand up to do what?
So listen, there's someone coming. And so of course
Get the lookout.
you'd be writing there'd be a little bit of paper, you'd be writing the bet, so what you do with the paper, you throw it over the fence, no evidence, or but I did get caught once before I went to Rapanius, but no, it was very interesting time in my life, because it opened my eyes up about people betting, because I used to like a punt, mad punter. The Bluey Grit, he was, him and I played Richmond together, and played for Richmond together back in the late 50s, and it was a very good, well, get all sorts of people come down there betting. We used to have our standover man was Jack Twist, if anybody give us any trouble. There was one Saturday afternoon, Colin, we always get a big crowd, a lot of old ladies would come down there and betting in 2 bobs and shillings and everything. And this big fat fella come down. I actually knew his head when I seen him, and started abusing everybody.
Yeah.
I was 30, my bookmaker, he'd sort of go on the phone to Jack Twist. He was a gangster, well-known gangster and standover man. This fella could come down with a big fat fella called Fatty Burns, mouthing off all the time. So Bertie gets on the old Odie. Within 10 or 15 minutes he
What's
was
an
there.
Odie?
Odie Cologne, the phone.
All right.
And because this fella was about 6'5" and a big fat fella he was. Anyway, he'd come down, Jack Twist and Joey Turner, and any fellas around back in the 50s or 60s, they know Joey Turner was Jack Twist's right-hand man.
Right.
And this day he come down, we'd never seen Fatty Burns again. Anyway, he died 2 years later.
Right.
And no one,
Fatty Burns.
they found him in the gutter around the corner from my street.
Hello.
Yeah,
So you
someone didn't like
implementing
him.
Jack in the crime?
Oh, I don't know, but they never solved the murder. But he was a big fat heap of dirt, he was. But he got his right way. But apart from all the, I say on Saturday, in those days, there was only one midweek meeting a week.
Yep.
Now there's about every day. Because on the Wednesdays it was down the Royston Hotel, which is down on the end of Bridge Road, and on the Saturdays in Dover. It was
So what's the moral to your story, Barry?
well, I mean, back in, 30, it started in the 20s and 30s, first big bookmaking. It was part of your life. I mean, you'd go around the corner and people put the shillings and put sixpences on back in the 20s and 30s. It was but the moral of the story is that, well, actually, I can finish up. I got caught once. I'll tell you about that in a couple of minutes. But betting doesn't pay and crime doesn't pay. But we had to have those bookmakers around, because every hotel in Bridge Road nearly had every second or third hotel had this big bookmaker. Worked from the back lane, always at the back of the pub.
Yep.
And it was part of the
culture.
I mean, the coppers used to get the slings and keep away and all those sort of jazz. It probably still goes on now, because there's still SB betting around now, Colin.
Yeah.
But not official.
But there's so much
Unofficial.
There's so much betting anyway, so people
Yeah,
don't really need to go anyway.
Ring up and on the phone. But it was quite. I was only a very young fellow. I was only 17 then, days, 16, 17. I mean, I had a couple of hidings off the coppers. They used to try and bluff you to say you're writing bets, and you wasn't writing bets. They used to say, "Oh, we had your field glass up there. We're watching you betting." They couldn't see around the corner, because I knew they couldn't see, because we were in a lane, and the factory was over there. But they got a couple of hidings off, but that was smart a bit too.
Yeah, very good. So that was early days. You get involved with betting or starting price or own bookmaking from home anymore?
No, I haven't.
No.
No.
It's a definite no. So if the cops are listening to this,
no,
don't bother.
Turn over a new leaf for
Okay.
betting wise, but that was an experience. As I say, when I got caught, they took me down to the police station, Hawthorne Bridge. They gave me a nice old belting. I had to sign this form that I wasn't mistreated in the police station. I had to sign this thing. They don't hit you in the face, hit you in the back of your neck and your back and everything. But then when I went up to Rapaniup, I got this copper come up there. He said, look, we've got the warrant for your arrest up there because the fine hasn't been paid back in Richmond for that SPB. I said, I beg your pardon, I said it was supposed to be paid. But anyway, he rang him up and he got it paid. But I could have been arrested that day for not having the fine paid. So it was a pretty
hairy day.
Well, a very understanding copper and Rapaniup. Thank God for that.
Well, thank you very much for that story. I'm sure the listeners will enjoy it.
Well, that might fill them in a bit of what went on back in them days, back in Richmond,
in the olden days.
Dover Street and Royston Hotel and Fine Hotel.
Chelsea had their best and fairest, Barry, just recently.
Are you starting here tonight?
We're on live.
Right.
But don't that put you off or not tell the truth here? Well, the fact we're on live.
Yeah.
So tell us what you thought of the Chelsea best and fairest results.
What I thought about, because Louis rang me up just recently and told me about, I thought Steve Harrison probably win, but what he told me later was quite
disturbing.
Well, disturbing,
upsetting.
Whatever. It just didn't work out right.
Did you almost cry?
No, I did need the tissues, but he gave me this is a rough rundown. He said, now Harrison
held back tears. Go on.
Harrison got the money with 140, I think. Then he said there was Damon, McLeod, and these two fellas were finished in front of Louis. I cannot believe it. I'll read them out again. Harrison, I think this is what he told me. Harrison, Damon, McLeod, Carmody, Johnson, then Lewis, and then Stewart, and then Jackson Powell. I said to myself, now what game were those people watching? Because Nathan Johnson in front of... Oh, look, I'll tell you something. The umpires in this competition, not too flash, but they voted Louis in the first 8 in the competition.
Right.
In the competition.
Right. He didn't get... He
can't even make a top 6 in Chelsea. What is going on, Colin?
Nigel Carmody, he only played half a season, didn't he?
Well, he played all right the first 2 or 3 games before probably 4 or 5 games, but he wasn't best on the grounds. But he played all right, but then he missed about 6 or 7 weeks, and he come back and took a couple of weeks to get back. But Nathan Johnson, I mean, if you don't mind.
Yeah, something's wrong. You reckon there's something rotten at Chelsea?
Well, they might be all crook on Anthony Lewis. I mean, the leader papers crook on him, the records crook on him. They never put him in the best players.
Conspiracy.
What is it? Anti-Lewis conspiracy or what? Because
possibly
and Jackson and Ryan Stewart polled 20 or 30 votes, and Jay Powell, I reckon he had at least 3 best on the grounds. Jackson Powell, at least.
So you think the only thing they got wrong was the best player for the season? Got right, sorry.
Right, yeah. Stephen House, it was, well, you have to be half blind or silly, you know, he wouldn't win the best and fairest, but for A. Lewis to not finish in the first 6, I think the last 10 seasons... justice. I think the last 10 seasons, I might stand to be corrected here, I don't think he's finished any lower than 4th the last 10 seasons. And he said, I reckon he's had one of his best seasons this year. Where does he finish? 7th.
Barry Peatling angry.
Well, not about angry, but it's just not right. I mean, whoever's doing them votes, just go and have a lay down and check up, get your eyes tested, and but because that was
OPSM.
I can't believe it. Anyway, that's the way it goes. But I thought I'd say something about that and get it out of my system.